Sean Myrie. This episode, man, you know, it's going to be kind of controversial. You could say whatever you want, but people, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Now, analyzing, the title with Drake and Kendrick, the beef. Is it real? Is it fake? A lot of people been questioning other stuff, analyzing it, doing content for the last couple of months, basically a year. It's been a year since, this battle started and a couple, change of like, yeah, it's been a year. So a lot of people been picking sides. Drake, Kendrick Lamar, people debating online, Twitter, Instagram, you can name it, Reddit, it keeps going. They've been debating for a while, a lot of things. But, you know, a lot of people get in their feelings, and a lot of people have been getting disrespected over time, right? Regarding this whole Kendrick and Drake beef. People talking about streams, who have the higher streams, and um, people accusing people of, fixing streams. Drake's side saying how UMG and Spotify is against him. That's why he had several attempts to do a lawsuit against them. And now I'm hearing it's going through, right? Well, all the drama, there's so much drama to talk about. And what I believe, you could call it a conspiracy, you could call it whatever you want, right? Is the music industry's been behind this the whole time, aka UMG, aka Spotify, aka all the different parties in the music industry. You know what? I should have known better, right? That they would use something like this to distract a lot of people from the real issues, right? Drake, a Canadian, been at the top of the game. You could call it 15 years. He's been at the top of the game, still at the top. But Kendrick Lamar been getting praised this last year ever since this battle continued. I mean, started and is continuing still because Drake's not giving up. He has subliminals in his new music, even though there's a lawsuit against UMG Spotify for defamation of character because of the Not Like Us track. Drake claims they pushed that, right? They're behind pushing that, ruin it, well, trying to smudge, you know, his image or ruin his image. Okay, so Drake is saying that the music industry is behind that song Not Like Us. The music industry is behind Kendrick Lamar basically trying to dethrone or make Drake, the number one hit maker in the last couple of years, fall off. Well, there's some truth to it, but it's not just what Drake is saying. I believe it's both parties. Both parties are involved in this whole charade, right? I believe Kendrick and Drake, right, knew well. They really don't really like each other, but they knew about it, right? It's probably an idea thrown out there by industry execs or whatever you want to call insiders. I believe they're both both parties know about this, right? And it would make a lot of money for them. But the sacrifice is Drake's reputation a little bit, and he hit back Kendrick in this whole beef, in allegedly abusing his wife and his best friend being with you know Kendrick's wife. Anyways, the big picture is this: what I'm putting out there. The industry's been behind this beef from the beginning. Hip hop sales been going down for a while. Hip hop sales, they've been going down for a while. losing to Afro beats for the last 2 years, I could say. For the last 2 years, hip hop been losing sales. I think before that, but even more. So what do? Infuse, right? A beef. Two of the top, you could say, right now, or known hip hop artists, Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Well, they had J. Cole in there too, but you know what? He didn't want to participate in this beef, right? He did not want to participate, even though it could help streams and all that good stuff. So people are looking on it like, yeah, Drake and Kendrick, they hate each other, but I'm hearing they're signed to the same label. They're under the same umbrella. So that same umbrella is making money from both of them. They don't care what they say about each other because they're making money from both of them, right? If it was so bad, they would kind of intervene, and they could have kind of quiet this whole thing down before it exploded. But did they? No. Drake's guilty too of receiving the same treatment probably in the past for his streams going high, especially regarding when he dissed what's his name, Meek Mill, right? So now it didn't work out for him. So now he's letting the cat out of the bag, and he wants to, or he's going to forward with this lawsuit against UMG, his boss, and Spotify. Even though Spotify is still saying Drake is doing all types of, successes with his streams. Can you believe Spotify anymore? The research, what I know about like Spotify, it's a fraudulent system. You cannot believe anything what comes from that system. I've done my research. You cannot believe anything. People buy fake streams all the time, bots all the time. That system is broken from a long time ago. When people are buying streams and bots, that means you don't fully have control of that system, right? So, what I'm breaking down is that it's the industry behind this beef. And music, especially urban music, doesn't make the same money it once did 20 years ago or so. So they are going to the content makers like Aiden Ross, academics, the list goes on. These guys are they're helping push the algorithm for music, and Kai Senat. Yes, those guys are helping push the algorithm for the music industry. So the question is, out of academics, Aiden Ross and Kai Sanat, who's getting paid by the music industry to push this agenda, this beef agenda? You see, academics, he talks a lot about this beef almost every day. He talks about Kendrick, or he's talking about Drake. Aiden Ross is for Drake. He got to deal with Stake. Drake got to deal with Stake, right? With that's associated with Kick, right? You see that Drake is doing streaming to promote his latest album, Iceman, right? Kai Senat, he got all types of deals. I guarantee he is linked to the music industry. So what I'm basically getting, and he was supposed to, I think, produce a new video for Drake. So what I'm getting to is that the music industry's been behind this beef for a long, from the beginning. Drake's 15 years. They want to end. They hope that they could end the run. That's what they hope. They hope they could end the run, but it's not fully working, right? I don't think Kendrick Lamar was enough. But what I'm saying is the music industry is behind Kendrick Lamar and behind Drake to push this narrative beef. Drake is helping by doing this so-called lawsuit against UMG, saying that they, with the numbers or how they were, helping Kendrick, with his song "Not Like Us," they made that blow up, and that's the track what really hit him and defamed his name, right? Calling him a PDF and all types of stuff, right? So he's really angry from the success of "Not Like Us" because it affected his brand, right? But he's still making a lot of noise in the music industry. Drake himself. Kendrick, he's making a lot of noise right now. World tour. Both of them are on overseas doing tours. Drake is in UK. He's been almost a month in the UK. Um, Kendrick is in Europe. They're both in Europe at the same time. Both signed to the same label, right? Both signed to the same label. Both are in Europe right now. I'm hearing Kendrick is going to where's he going to he's going to the same place Drake was, Australia. Remember Drake cut that short because he cut that short. He said emergency, right? And Kendrick is going to Australia. That tour, right after he canceled it, Drake, he was supposed to reschedule it for around these times. Coincidence, Kendrick is going instead. So they both work for the same label, right? A lot of people don't want to hear this, but this whole beef, right? I covered a lot of it. I done content on it. I felt I said what I had to say, and I probably did hint to this, but the industry cook this up. Sorry, content makers. I don't know who's gonna say the same thing what I've been saying, but the industry, the music industry, cook this up. They cooked up this whole beef from euphoria, from euphoria. They've been cooking. They cooked this whole beef up. Great story, right? So when Kendrick hit first, and regarding the big three, him, Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole, he wants to be number one. So when he done that, he got a response. J. Cole responded. Of course, Drake responded. And then J. Cole fell off. He all of a sudden changed his mind. He didn't want to get down and dirty. Drake stayed. He didn't want to back down because if he backed down, then fully, who got the crown? Kendrick, right? But no, they were told, I believe, they were both told to continue. And they got a lot of streams, right? This helped a lot of their shows even more, just a boost, even extra. The interest. What are they gonna say at these shows? So a lot of people anticipate to go to their concert even more. Even people who are not fans of them probably they made new fans with this beef. With this beef, they made new fans. Drake made new fans. Kendrick made new fans, and it made a lot of it made more content more than ever. It made more content all over the internet. So much content makers talking about the beef. You're still talking about the beef. You're still analyzing the beef. People are still doing breakdowns of every song from the beef. So YouTube is making a lot of getting more views because of the beef. They're getting the majority of the views, well, not say the majority of the views from the beef, but they got a big population of content makers making content about the beef, right? And it's out there. There's YouTube Music now. Don't tell me that YouTube is not linked to the music industry. They're all connected, right? This message, what I'm putting out, is not popular, but I should have known. You could call me conspiracy theorist, whatever you want to call it. But this is a real conspiracy that the music execs or whoever's behind the scenes, which is not the first time, encouraged the beef. And that's what even Drake on his side is saying about Kendrick, that the labels encouraged Kendrick to con- do this beef, like, kind of egged them on, but he done his own thing, but kind of, you know, inspired him, saying go ahead, right? Hip hop, there's been battles long time, but this had the hands of the corporation in it. Like I said, hip hop been around a long time. Mixtapes, all right. These guys were doing tracks on production, not no one else's beat, production, and getting released. Never seen this before, how fast a song could be cleared and released, all that politics, and then it's out there. That shows you people could come out with music very fast if they want to, right? But there's no doubt that the music industry is behind this whole Drake and Kendrick stuff. Like I said, one party's are saying the same stuff what I'm saying, but I'm not just, I'm not kissing Drake's ass. And on the Kendrick side, maybe they don't want to admit it that this is true, that they got, kind of hyped off of getting, basically allowed to continue this beef. Because you would think this beef, is it bad for business? No. So that's why Drake is saying the Not Like Us is the main track for the defamation of character against UMG and Spotify, saying that they help promote that track more than ever they pushed it. The numbers are fraudulent. He wants an investigation into UMG because he's angry at UMG. He's very angry with Spotify. He's angry with anybody who supported Kendrick, right? And it's not like I'm like fully taking Drake's side, but I see what he's saying, but he knows the game. He knows that the industry is behind this. Drake knows the industry is behind this. Kendrick knows the industry is behind this, but they're playing their role. But Drake is bringing it to court. So he believes the industry really push the agenda for this beef, right? And he knew that long time ago. He knew it from the beginning that the industry was pushing this beef. Kendrick knew it from the beginning, right? And maybe Drake warned them and they just continued. We don't know. Drake knows that the industry is behind pushing this whole campaign against them. Kendrick knows that the industry is behind pushing a hate campaign because it wasn't just Kendrick. It was Rick Ross and a whole bunch of other people who had feelings against Drake, and they're all signed to some industry label. So UMG knows Drake has a lot of haters. They know that. Spotify knows that in the industry. So I don't know if I'm speaking a other language, but just listen and I have to repeat it because some people it takes longer for them to understand that Drake knows that the industry was behind that smear campaign on it, right? Kendrick, he knows that the industry will not maybe turn a blind eye for a while. Meanwhile, he rips up Drake, right? How he really feels about Drake. He doesn't like Drake, but he knows. He knows all of that was coming. They both know what was coming. It's just one is more hurt than the other. And it's Drake, the guy who's been at the top for 15 years. So Drake, like when some people can't, they're a sore loser, right? He thought that they were going to just ride with just him. If it was the other way around, we wouldn't hear probably about no lawsuit. He would be happy, the victorious one. But because he wasn't the victorious one, he's spilling the tea. He's spilling the tea. I think Drake doesn't know that some of his numbers probably, been pushed because of favoritism. It's time for people to wake up and stop being, you know, so I don't know what you call it, fooled. But it's not how you think it is. The industry created this, they cooked it up, it became a monster, and they ran with it. They ran with it. They went with the whole charade, if you want to call it, right? I'm just a small content maker. Let's see down the line if anyone who's a content maker comes up with this. We all know Drake is doing his lawsuit, but you'll listen to this over again, what I put out there in the universe, that both parties, they knew they knew about this. And maybe Drake didn't want to go with this, but Kendrick was good with it. Like probably maybe Drake said, "No, no, no, I don't want to deal with that." But Kendrick took it and went with it. And then when he hit harder on Drake, Drake could not deny but respond. He had to respond because of Kendrick. It was Kendrick. Was it Rick Ross and all these other guys? It was Kendrick Lamar. And he kind of felt a certain way, kind of betrayed in a way, that he was cool with him and stuff. But it was Kendrick Lamar, and he probably said, I'm going to run with this shit. I'm going to run with it. Drake probably said, I don't really want to do this. Right? But he kept calling him, knocking at the door, and the sixth god, Drake, responded, and the battle, you know, started even more, went down, right? The best track out of it for Drake was Family Matters, where he really hit out all the feelings. And then after then, the Not Like Us just ended everything. But like I'm saying, the music industry push this. So don't be fooled, people. Right now, I know the whole game. When you speak the truth, they shadow ban you or whatever, their system. Even on this YouTube, they do the shadow banning. They know who and who to push. And like I'm saying, with this whole so called conspiracy, a lot of the content makers, well, a percent of the content makers, I believe the music industry is paying to push this. You hear what I said? A percentage of content makers, the music industry, been paying to push the content of the battle. You hear that? So it's like a wrestling. It's like wrestling, if you know what I mean. They've been paid content makers to push the agenda, this beef shit in the culture. That's what's been going on. The push beef, not talk about the realness, the culture of hip hop. They've been paid. Look at the people who most likely, most of, they're always talking about it and what they do, what they're benefiting. Aiden Ross, he talks about Drake, not all the time, but he talks about Drake. He's Drake's friend. He's getting paid by stake. Down the line, Stakes hooked up with the music industry. Kick, whatever, Kick. They're hooked. They're linked to the music industry. Kai, he's linked to the music industry, right? Joe Budden, he talks about Drake. He's linked to the music industry. All the guys who are the big boys, they're all linked to the music industry in some type of way. The big ones, the big ones, what gets Drake's attention? They're all linked to the music industry. Then the small content makers like myself, right, help them with the algorithm. So that's why it continues the whole Drake and Kendrick Lamar talk. It will never end, and Drake is continuing it with this lawsuit. That's what's dragging it even more longer on. The lawsuit, right? Even though he's doing subliminal songs, still dissing Kendrick and dissing his ops, but he's still doing the lawsuit, right? So correct me if I'm wrong. If I was UMG, right, just show you they're behind it, and Spotify, and this individual is suing me, am I gonna be promoting his latest tracks, especially if one of them's a diss song? What did I miss? Think of it. If you are gonna, you're coming at me, but I'm still promoting you and helping you get sales and streams, make it make sense. To me, that shows me that they're behind the shit because he's taking you guys to court saying defamation of character and all this other stuff. And then he's still making songs dissing his ops. The same, like, does that make sense? Does that make sense? It does not make sense. What did I miss? And even the other tracks where he came out with, he's, sneak dissing. And then Kendrick too. Even after Not Like Us, he still came with something. But look at what the clips. Look at the clips. The track he done with the clips, right? Who's he dissing on that? So it continues. If UMG didn't want smoke, or if they cared, they wouldn't come up. They wouldn't allow these guys to release any more diss tracks if they cared. But they're still releasing these tracks. Leads me to believe more than ever that the industry's behind all of this shit. The industry is behind all of this. This beef is a made up beef. It's a made up beef. It's not real. These guys don't like each other. Bless up, Big Chill. You know what I came, Big Chill, because you know about this. You've been listening, watching different content makers. And then I should have known better. It's just, this excitement for a beef in hip hop hasn't been around for a while. But what I came to overstand, and I should have known better, that the industry's behind this whole shit. They might not like each other, Drake and Kendrick, but the industry cooked this up. I broke it down earlier. And if you want to hear some more, I'll give it to you. Right? So, Drake, with this lawsuit, he's kind of right with this lawsuit, but in regards to saying that about the numbers and all of that stuff, right? Yes, UMG is behind that and Spotify, but Kendrick knows about this and he was encouraged to continue with it. Yes, so when we say, yeah, it sells records, right? Big Chill, we're saying, yes, it sells records and all this, but behind the scenes, do people think that Kendrick didn't know about like this? Like I believe that Kendrick wanted to diss Drake, but they could have stopped all of this, but they let him go ahead with it. And Drake couldn't deny but respond. They both work for the same man. That's what I was saying. They're both signed to the same guy, right? Remember, sales was going down in hip hop for like 2 years. It was really hurting. The whole music industry still hurting. Who's bigger than a music artist now? Content makers. Who talks the most about Drake and this Kendrick beef? Content makers. Who makes people check out people's music more than ever now? Content makers. If you don't hear academics or Kai talk, Aiden Ross, no one gives a shit about your music, really, right? When's the last time you saw a big music video really get big since 50 Cents and certain artists? 50, you get what I mean? So they're both they both know about this. That's what I'm getting to. Just one was more hurt that they weren't getting as much support. It's like children. Oh, I'm not getting as much candy like him. So Kendrick got more candy. They're saying you're spoiled, Drake. You've been spoiled for 15 years. Now we gotta kind of spoil our other child, Kendrick. So they're both guilty of it. That's where I'm getting to. They're playing us. These guys are both in Europe at the same time. Kendrick is going to where Drake canceled, Australia. But Drake, okay, let me see what you said. But Drake gonna get big money still. They saying PDF big money. Yeah. Didn't they offer Drake? A lot of people forget this. Just 2 or 3 months ago, they offered Drake almost $200 million. He didn't take it. They offered Drake $200 million. So they know they're guilty of pushing the whole thing against Drake. So Drake knew about this whole diss thing. He just didn't expect it to get this big and people in his ear. He knew about this whole battle to prove he is. So they have to prove he is or pay him. Drake's okay. Oh, I'm gonna get deep in the rabbit hole, but oh boy, you got me deep. So check this now. Drake, whenever somebody gets that big, like Drake, Michael Jackson, even P. Diddy, if they can't find any, like you're in any criminal activity, I mean, like, doing selling drugs or, you know, extorting people, they're gonna say you done something with kids, PDF. That's the weapon, right? They're gonna use the children thing. If they can't get you on anything, Puff Daddy, they couldn't get him on certain things, so they started to bring up the children stuff. Now you don't hear it anymore, right? Um, Michael Jackson, they were doing that a lot, and at the end of his career, you stop hearing it because he paid them off with giving up, Sony, the Beatles. So now Drake got a lot of collections, right? He collected Tupac's ring and a whole bunch of stuff. So um, this whole PDF thing was a try, but they didn't fully get him. They didn't fully get him. Nah, they didn't get Drake. Drake's not gonna go down for no PDF shit, right? He might have been on stage with some young ladies and didn't know their age, but I don't believe Drake done anything myself with anybody underage. I don't believe that. End up on Kendrick Low, you never know. They're gonna have to do a sacrifice, but they both know about this whole beef. We've been bamboozled. There's certain content makers who are paid. I'm telling you, there's content makers who are paid to push this narrative, man. There's content makers that's been paid to push this whole thing. If it wasn't for the content makers, no one would give a shit, right? Will will Drake end up owning Kendrick's catalog? I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. But one thing I do know that it was pushed, or it is still being pushed, actually. Drake's doing this Iceman album. He dropped part one, part two, supposed to come out with part three the 14th of August. Um, let's see what this Iceman album is really about. His last album, the collaboration, was more like a R&B type of album. This album, Iceman, I know you'll have a little singing on it. Hopefully, he has more rapping on it. I don't know. It looks like he's gonna continue this beef, which, like I said, the industry set this up. It's like a boxing match or wrestling. The industry set this up. Some people don't want to hear it. It might be too much for them. Like I said, I speak the truth, down to earth. They do shadow ban my platform 100%. They do the shadow banning because certain things I speak on here is not popular, right? It's not popular, meaning not everybody speaks what I speak and what the cast speaks because it's against the system. Like what I'm speaking right now is totally against the system, right? It's Tuesday right now, about 5:53. The algorithm on YouTube is large around this time, right? So, and I got my people. They do watch afterwards, but this is to show you what they want to put out there in the universe, right? And what they don't want put out there in the universe. Because, like I said, YouTube is linked with the music industry, Spotify, of course, right? UMG is the music industry. There's other uh, people out there, but UMG is the giant, right? Um, they kind of influence even Instagram because a lot of Instagram music is from UMG. TikTok, a lot of their music is from UMG. UMG. There was a thread of them UMG pulling their music from TikTok because UMG is, correct me if I'm wrong, American music label. Uh, so they almost affected TikTok. And TikTok, people use TikTok a lot for music. So if UMG could affect TikTok, a big platform like that, they could affect a lot of other platforms, right? And influence. And indeed, I believe Drake knew about this beef from the beginning. Kendrick knew about this beef from the beginning, but one wanted to continue more than the other. Drake didn't want to continue, I believe, and the other kept scratching and knocking and made Not Like Us, and that went over, you know, and look, it became an anthem. And an anthem could hurt, especially if it's a diss. No one will ever, 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 ever forget Not Like Us, the anthem. It's not going anywhere, and that's why Drake wants UMG to pay. To pay, pay, pay. Who's the biggest content makers pushing this Drake stuff? I'm going to say academics, right? Academics is very smart, but he will cover his ass so he can look more authentic. I believe academics is getting paid by the music industry to talk about Drake. That's what I believe, straight up. But people, please subscribe, like, and comment all that good stuff, right? Because, when you like, comment, it pushes the algorithm. I believe academics is getting paid. Let me correct my wrong. Academics is getting paid by the music industry to talk about Drake. Aiden Ross is getting paid by the music industry to talk about Drake and everything. All these guys at the top are paid by the industry to talk about Drake and Kendrick Lamar. They're paid. It's like a show. It's like a big show. They're both, well, they both know. Drake and Kendrick Lamar know, right? And you got academics. He's the one who's getting paid by who the music industry to talk about this ish the most. You notice? Every time he goes on stream, he mentions Drake or Kendrick majority of the time. And now he's on kick. Now he's on Kick. He was on Twitch. He's on Twitch, but now he's on Kick. Kick is linked to Stake. Stake is linked to Drake. Drake made Kick big. Aiden Ross made Kick big, right? Aiden Ross has influence over there at Kick. Drake has influence over there at Kick. They're linked to the music industry. Kai is linked to the music industry. If you're not on Kai's stream, man, you're not relevant. That's why you see all these music artists going on Kai's platform because he's with the music industry, right? So this is like some medicine for a lot of you to take in. It's not popular what I'm saying, but it's fact and it's truth, right? There's certain individuals, bless up, much respect to What's the Dirt. He breaks down a lot of the Drake stuff and Kendrick stuff. He got big off of this stuff. He got sponsors too. I would have to ask him. He doesn't have to tell me the truth if he's paid by the music industry too. He's from Canada, so maybe not, because he's from Canada and I haven't seen him in America. I haven't seen him on any American platform. Anyone interviewing him in America, a guy like that you would think would be on the biggest platforms in America who talk about Drake, right? And Kendrick. He breaks it down a lot. I'm not saying he's getting paid by the music industry, but he's Canadian, so that's where it might break a little right there. But guys like Company Man, Justin Hunt, Curtis, what's his name? Curtis King, and a whole bunch of them. Deleted. Who else? The other one who's on Culture United with those guys, Anthony Fantino or Fantino. He just found that people are, he's racist. Well, you know what? Shouldn't be surprised nowadays. But these are the people who crucify Drake or try to crucify Drake. They hate Drake. I don't think they like Drake. They're Kendrick Lamar supporters 100%. But I think they're all paid too by the music industry. Those same individuals I spoke of. I think they're on the payroll of the music industry. Justin Hunt, right? Don't know about Curtis King, but maybe. Justin Hunt, Curtis King, Anthony Fantino. Who else is the other guy? Deleted. He doesn't even show his face, so you don't even know who he is. He could be a big agent. He doesn't even show his face. No one sees that guy's face, and he's a good cooker of beefs. He talks about Drake a lot. He talks about Kendrick, but I think he's a Kendrick supporter, right? So he could be an industry insider, just spitting all types of stuff to cook up this beef, to make this beef keep going. And it is. The beef is still around, right? A lot of people don't want to hear this, but the industry's behind it. Like they've been behind a lot of shit in the industry before. They've done things before and they're guilty of it, right? 100%. They can make whoever there is hot. They can make anybody they want hot at the top. Now, when you look at the music industry, who's at the top still? You can't deny it. Drake is still at the top. Kendrick is there, but Drake, 15 years, is still at the top. Who's number two or whatever you want to debate? Okay, Kendrick. Who's number three? Who's number three? No one knows because everybody's talking about Drake and Kendrick. No one knows who's even number four and five. No one knows who's the top five guys. We're always talking about number one and three to three. You get what I mean? Who's the top five? We don't know. It's only Drake and Kendrick Lamar you're hearing about. That's all. That shows you the music industry's behind it. Who's number two? Who's number three? No matter who's number one, Drake or Kendrick Lamar, who is number three? That's what I want to know. They can't tell me. No one could say who's number three. Are you going to say J. Cole? When's the last J. Cole had an album out? What is he doing right now? Can't say J. Cole. Who is number three? You know why we can't say number three, number four, or number five? You know why you can't say it? because the music industry has no interest in them. They are not pushing any artists anymore. They just want the top, right? And let's put Weekend is there. Let's put it there. Weekend Drake going back and forth with and Kendrick. That's it. And Weekend's not a rapper. Weekend's a singer. So let's put Drake, The Weekend, Kendrick Lamar. And that's why I believe Tory's in prison. I talked about that before. You couldn't have three Canadians at the top of the music industry. Drake, Weekend, and Tory Lanez. Because let's be realistic, for the last 10 or 15 years, it's been three Canadians at the top of the charts. So you got to knock one out, because I guarantee if Tory was not locked up, he probably could have taken the spot out from Drake. That's why Drake continued with this beef. He knows about the beef. And if anybody wants to talk about the conspiracy about Tory Lanez, here it is, right? Tory Lanez was talking about a conspiracy against him. He broke the code or broke whatever. He got his master's before he got locked up. You see the weak evidence against him. He's still locked up. Other people getting pardons. He's still locked up. Could you afford for Tory to come out? You don't even see Drake bigging up him that much, Tory. And he's from the same country, same city, right? Kendrick isn't even top 10 after time. People gonna see the whole album was garbage PDF. Destroy him in the future will be. You know what? I done something recently, Big Chill, on Kendrick's album, and some brethren might hate it, but I never liked really the album. I listened to that album. I do reviews besides doing this. I listen to his album. When I listen to an album, I listen all day, sometimes a week. And first of all, the features, garbage, right? He had about, maybe be fair, 5 good tracks, barely. That GNX album was a rush. The diss tracks were better than his album. The album is garbage to me. I listen to hip hop albums. I could take any other album and say it's better. Even Kendrick's old stuff is better than this. So the PDF stuff, I believe, was pushed out because they needed Drake to react. Drake wasn't gonna react after a couple songs, like I don't know which one, Not Like Us, he said the PDF stuff. So Drake, for him to continue, he had to put that out, Kendrick. They told him, yo, continue with this, Kendrick. This is giving a lot of streams, a lot of attention. Continue. Say something what's gonna piss him off. Yeah. The colonies, we the true land of the free. Yeah, we're the true land of the free, but man, that's another subject, man. Before me talk about that, that's a whole bunch of that's a whole big subject about that. But this whole thing is an agenda, man, and you could clearly see it that with YouTube and all these platforms, I don't, I frig with it, but I don't fuck with it, because this is what I'm gonna show you. There's real people behind these screens. There's real people who push an agenda. Yeah, still slavery, still Mexican slavery. Yeah, there's real people who push an agenda, who they want to be big and who they want to keep quiet, right? There's real people who push an agenda. So what I'm talking is not going to be popular. But if I talk about some gangster shit, some nonsense, right? And I tested it a couple times, the views go up. They go very fast. They go up crazy. But when you're talking about facts and the truth and you digging in shit, be quiet. But I'll repost this. It'll be reposted. But I'm just saying that it's not what people think, right? There's a lot of people lost out there, and they want to say, oh, conspiracy. It is a fucking conspiracy. The whole music industry has been a conspiracy from the beginning. It's been, right? Well, Big Chill, regarding still slavery, yeah, I know about that whole thing what Trump is doing. I know what he's doing. I talked about that in a episode a while back. Basically, he's trading, making them if they catch you, ICE, right? It's off subject. If ICE catches you and they give you an option sometimes, like either you go back, you stay back in your home native country, right? Where they're gonna deport you, or you have to work free in America. You have to work free to live in America. They'll feed you, give you some shelter, but you have to do free labor. So, yeah, that's what's going on. And the music industry is slavery too, because ever since Spotify came in and stuff like that for distribution for artists, any artists, independent artists to get on, they haven't paid nobody good. It was better off when it wasn't when it was physical. When it was a physical game, people were making money. Soon as it became digital and they controlled it, they started to do their big crusade on thievery, and artists not they're not getting paid. I suggest artists take your music, don't put your music on all digital platforms. Make your own site or put it on Bandcamp because it's bullshit, right? It's fraudulent. Anybody can buy streams. That's why Drake is going through this. With Kendrick is going through this. People talk about streams all the time. Who cares about Spotify? I don't know that you don't know the streams on Apple. All the other streaming sites, there's no number you know on those sites, but you know on Spotify. But you don't know your numbers on the other music platforms. Really look on that. It's only Spotify you know. But like I'm saying, other content makers, it'll take them long or some time to really maybe, you know, talk about this. Or they're going to say they kind of knew about this, but it's only one side. They're only going to say Drake. Kendrick knows all about the system. Kendrick Lamar knew about this whole show, right? He was encouraged to do this beef. He didn't have to continue after Euphoria. He didn't have to. Drake made a diss track, right? He used the Tupac and Snoop thing, AI, and after then, yo, somebody got in Kendrick's ear, yo, for the West Coast, you gotta continue this. This is us, man. You can't make this Canadian guy come and diss you, man. So then Kendrick had was cooking up a whole bunch of shit, cooking it up, and here we are right now. Drake, Iceman album. What's his name? Kendrick has his album, and now they're both in Europe. Dwarf people are smart still. Calling Kendrick a dwarf, yo. Listen, Kendrick, if you really look on him, even before this whole beef, he looked like he's kind of sneaky still, you know. Even before this whole beef, he looked kind of sneaky because out of all the people Drake helped, he was one of the first people Drake helped. Drake put him on tour with him. I knew about that long time ago when he wasn't even known. Drake put him on. Let's be straight up, man. Right? I know I have my talks, but Drake did give him a spotlight, like how he gave Toronto a spotlight and give certain people spotlight. Just with these dogs. You know what though? You're right, man. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's a West Coast thing or it's an industry thing, but these industry guys are dressing weird nowadays. I don't give a shit if it's the times. A lot of these guys are dressing fucking weird, weird shit. They're wearing all types of weird shit. Drake gave him his first big bag. Yeah, he did give him his first big bag. So what ended up happening, I think people just got in Kendrick's ear. Weekend is Kendrick's friend, and Weekend probably talked about Drake to him, right? Like an insider. And I think the real beef is Drake and Weekend. That's the real beef. It's just a shadow using Kendrick. He bought his mama house. Yeah, of course he bought his mama house. I seen a recording of Kendrick praising Drake. Kendrick's praising Drake, praising it big time. Why don't people talk about that? Why don't they bring up a video clip of how Kendrick is praising Drake? Now, people want to say a glazer, and you're one, Big Chill, you're here for evidence. This brother ain't no glazer for Drake. I'm honest. I've been ripping Drake for months, right? Two Face, oh yeah, Toronto, Screwface, LA, Two Face. Yeah, yeah. No, right now with LA, man, who's the biggest platform in Los Angeles as a podcast that supports Kendrick? Who? That's who. What I want to know. Who on that side? Who on that side? I'm not talking about academics. He's not from LA. I don't think Aiden Ross is from LA. Who from the West Coast? And I'm not talking about what's his name again. What's his name again? I forgot his name. See, that's to show you he's not relevant. But who from the West Coast as a content maker digs up a community? Or I done digged into those guys, man. Justin Hunt, he's scared of me. All those West Coast guys are scared of me. Respect to who, the brother from here who went on there and pun like him. They have no okay, they have no platform. Like No Jumper is the most popular one, and No Jumper has no artist recently who's relevant on their platform. No Jumper. Now they're in trouble. That might shut down. Now from Toronto, what platform we have platforms. Drake don't respect home though. That's his only big mistake, man. That's the only fucked up mistake Drake has done. Drake would have a full victory. I mean, smashing victory if he used home, but he's using top five instead. The Fig support Dwarf too. Yeah, they all support him, but I never seen Kendrick shout them out. I never seen no type of stuff of support from Kendrick's camp. You know who I seen? Curtis King get support. Curtis King I seen get support. That's who I seen. Right? Punch from TDE got an interview from him. So I would give Curtis King that that right, but he's not big enough either. From Toronto side now, who what platform has Drake been on? Western or South Jane claims so well. Need to see him on Western or those guys will never come deep into to the areas of Toronto. And if they did, they probably would get try to recruit somebody from Toronto to be with them. They would do their homework and try to recruit somebody who's not necessarily on Drake's side from the six. But in Toronto, the only problem I have with Drake, and I know people might have heard it other places, Drake, and excuse my language. I don't know if I'll curse. I'm not gonna curse. Yeah, I'm gonna curse. When the fuck are you gonna come on a Toronto fucking platform? Because that's why I feel you fucking lost in a lot of people's eyes. You should have used the weapons, whatever weapon. I know you think you're the biggest shit and Superman, but that's what happened. It says I'm an OG in the West Indian tree. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. My fam's from there, man. Remember that, yo. I don't see him. You don't see who? Drake. You don't see Drake? Of course you don't see Drake. Drake comes to Toronto though. One thing I'll give Drake this compared to Kendrick Lamar, and no one better fight me down on this shit. Drake shows love to his city more than I seen Kendrick show love to where he's from. Yeah, he done a video in Compton, but Drake shows more love to his city than Kendrick. See, Drake. See, Drake still will go to a restaurant, a local this and local that. He still will do that. I mean, a local club and stuff. I have to give respect to that. I give him a 10 for that. I give him a fucking 10 for that compared to all the celebrities in America who don't go back to their city and do nothing compared to Drake. Drake does fucking come back to the city. Even I tell my brother that he does come to the city. Seen Nav on Jane. Yeah, he does. I don't know about the weekend. I don't know about that. Weekend in Scarborough though. But in regards to the platforms, Nav, where the fuck are you? Come on, D2E, somebody else. I'm not gonna say their names. Fuck Drake, where are you? Come on to one of the platforms. Weekend, where are you? You motherfuckers think you're too big. No, you're not too big. That's why people could talk all types of shit. Come on to Down to Earth or some other platform, whatever. Weekend got his family in my hood. Holy shit. You're probably right. You're probably right. Weekend got this family in the hood. All those guys shouldn't have nobody in no hood. Weekend shouldn't have. Again, that guy has enough money to take even 100 people out of the hood. Weekend should not have his family in no hood. Nav should not have his family in no hood. All these guys who claim they have all this money should not have their family in no hood. Yo, these guys could buy franchises, even if they don't want to give the money direct. They could buy franchises in Toronto and put these people in jobs. So none of these people who's related to a weekend or related to any of these guys who's big in America should be poor. They should have some type of employment. Man, I don't know, man. All I know is no excuse for billionaires. What's up, Power Bino? I sent a link, I invite link on there. So I don't know if you could press the link and come through. But yeah, no one, all I'm just saying is none of these guys have been on a Toronto platform. So I lose some respect for all of them. I haven't seen Tory Lanez on any Toronto platform. Look where he is. I haven't seen Drake on any Toronto platform. Yeah, he's good, but look where he is. I haven't seen who else? Party Next Door. I haven't seen all the top guys on no Toronto platform. So all of us who are content makers from Toronto, me, I'm being realistic. For me, I lose some respect for all of these ones. Yeah, I lose some respect for all of these ones I just mentioned. Because if you want us to support you, yes, we do support you. How come you don't support us? Listen, I talked. I'm not gonna make a big head. Oh, I talked to the most biggest blah blah blah. I'm the biggest blah blah blah. Right? But I talked to some people in the industry, a good amount of people in the industry since I started this platform. People who have numbers and shit. Recently, What's the Dirt, who covers a lot of the Drake and the Tory shit. Right? So all you guys, like I said, Weekend, Drake, Tory when you come out, Party Next Door, Nav, support the fucking Toronto platforms. Yeah, they don't get local support. Let me tell you something though. Besides the numbers, because people are just lazy with technology and certain things. I know why certain things. I'm not complaining. We get the local support. Toronto platforms don't get the local. We get blood clot support. Bino, you're there? We get fucking support. You know how much people call us to cover their shit? The underground, where you want to call it, artists? I'm never gonna say that. We get the bumbleclad support. We get the fucking support. We may not have the numbers, and I'm cursing right now, on the YouTube like certain individuals, but I ain't looking on that really because, like I said, I seen platforms with 1,000 subscribers in America get more views than any platform in Canada. I let me say it again. I seen platforms in America. I know they have bigger numbers, but I seen platforms in America unknowns with less subscribers than certain individuals here get way more views. So it's not that, right? What's the Dirt's a legend still. People hate on him. I support What's the Dirt. I just interviewed him a while ago, right? I done a piece on him about the hate, right? Like I'm saying, The local people support us 100%. But there's the people who like the fuckery from Toronto who get the spotlight, and the some of the wrong people are getting support. That's what's fuck up with Toronto. You see, it went from this Drake thing, which is a good amount, to this support. We support, you know what makes us lose respect in the city from even the outsiders? We support fucking idiots, people who have no talent. When did we get this bad in the city that we support garbage? Right? I'm not saying any names, but people are supporting people on Instagram talking about people's lives, which is fucking nonsense content. People are supporting a guy who talks about the ops. He has no lyrical skill. He just talks about beef, which is fucking garbage. What happened to the friggin' real artists, the lyricists? What happened to hip hop or hip hop journalism? It's pure fuckery. You get what I mean? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You guys promote that individual, Mr. Five, more than any real hip hop. I talked about him a couple times, and that's recently, not for years. You've been around for years. I didn't never. I was kind of critical of covering that guy. They didn't want to give him no spotlight, but he gives you the algorithm. He does give you the algorithm. He's not a good hip hop. He's not a good artist. Straight up, he's not good. He's not fucking good. So why are people talking about this guy constantly? Because he brings conversation and he brings views. Well, fuck that shit, right? So, and then you support these other losers. I refuse to put losers on my platform. If that guy asked to come on to this platform, I say no. Fuck that shit. You get what I mean? I don't support losers. People who are taught, like, that's what's wrong with Toronto. There's pages made off of fuckery. You know how much pages are made off of fuckery from Toronto? They're not talking about no hip hop. All the latest hip hop albums, they're not talking about it, right? You got people like Keep Sick Solid, which talks about a lot of fuckery. Yeah, they talk about some news, a lot of fake news, but they talk about the most fuckery. And people support that shit. I seen it. Now, Torontology, this other one, they talk about some fuckery too. A lot of fuckery. People support it, right? So the biggest content makers or new ones are following that, the fuckery. Too many. That's why we look like clowns, man. Listen, we took a step forward when Drake came out, and now we've taken 10 steps back. Drake don't support the real content makers here. I don't want to say any names. Big Chill knows who I'm talking about. When are you gonna give that guy a fucking interview, Drake? When you gonna give that guy an interview who been pushing you, supporting you for so long? You owe that motherfucker, you owe that guy an interview. You owe him. I don't give a shit. I'm saying it. You owe him a friggin' interview before anyone you do an interview. You owe that guy a damn interview. I wouldn't be mad if he got the interview. You owe that. I'm saying again, you owe that guy an interview. I don't give a shit. I've seen how that individual was promoting you over years and years and years and defending you and probably still defending you too. And you are talking to fucking QC and talking to Aiden Ross and talking to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but not at home. What kind of fuckery is that? You know who I'm talking. Yes, Big Chill. You know what I'm talking. What the fuck is that? Right? What is that? I've been dissing Drake for years. I've been dissing Drake for years. So now you fuck around so much that this guy don't even want to talk about you anymore. But you owe him a friggin' interview. That's why you lose even more respect from me. Because a man who's has so much thumbnails with your face, so much content with your face, so much content with your face, interview people associated with you, and you're not giving him no fucking interview, boy, you're fucked up then. But friends, still seeing. Yeah, I said that too. I said, but still. Okay, Big Chill. You put that out. Yes. Yes. Okay. So Drake does not forgive. But before that, that's recent. That is recent shit, right? That's recent. Before that, though, what? What then? What then? No, man. You're doing bad shit, Drake, when it comes to that, man. Right? All I know, you're doing some bad shit. You know what Drake's gonna do? This is what I'm gonna tell you. I want you both to be the witnesses. Some people's in Drake's ear saying, fuck that guy, don't go to that guy. The last OVO interviews went to a thing called Hot Lifestyle. The OVO guys went on that shit. Baka, and I seen Smiley, maybe somebody else. They went on that shit when they could have went on his platform. So they're backdooring or doing some shit, right? Um, what's gonna happen is when Drake gets an interview from a Toronto person, he's reserving that for Mr. Rex, T Rex, on Entertainment Tonight. Is he still on that? He's reserving that for T Rex. And then no one could say he didn't do anything on any Toronto platform or Canadian platform. I guarantee if it's not T Rex, it's from what it's called the that same platform, the hot whatever street freestyle shit. He'll go on instead because I seen Bach on it and I seen the other guy was Smiley on it. I'm just saying enough of that. This is why I lose respect for when people want to say, "Oh, girl, you hater, drink." Why talk about it? Because if someone is supporting you so much and all of Toronto supports you a lot, and you have content makers talking about you and they do interviews and you're always in the city fucking recently driving the ice truck. You're in the fucking city. I'm cursing, sorry. You're in the city driving the ice truck. You can't make a visit to none of you can't make a visit. I'm going to say the guy who says he's the main man. Yeah. You know what my conclusion is? He doesn't like he doesn't like him. That's my conclusion. That's my conclusion. Someone could give you access to something and talk to you doesn't mean they really like you. Drake, for a long time, right, had his Instagram blocking certain people, and only it was like a group of people who could just join to talk. Now he opened it up, showing that no one is special anymore. But he disrespect content makers in Toronto, I feel, by not sitting down with anybody down in the city. That's why he lost some of my respect. But in regards to the conversation I was having before, it's a conspiracy, right? And it's real that the industry's behind the Drake and the Kendrick Lamar beef. They both know about it. They both partake in it. One got hurt more than the other, and that's Drake. They're both behind this whole charade. Do not be fooled. Don't get fooled. It helped their sales. It helped them be relevant. That's what it is. Drake, to me, respect for putting the city on the map, but you're selfish, man. You rich and you don't give a shit, but you don't want nobody else to be rich or get to a certain level without being under you. Aiden Ross, he talks good about you. That's good. So he's with you. Academics, kind of with you in a way. But Toronto, I'm not making that nigga get famous. I'm not making that nigga get rich off of me. I go on his platform, he's getting 7 million views on that interview or 20 million views on that interview. He could keep chopping that up until he keeps getting hundreds of thousands. And then he's big. You know how many people or content makers, if he was just to do that, he could make our scene even more respected and bigger if he was to do that. Would have more respect and it would be more big. Then people who are these big head people in Toronto would jump to get the interviews more and respect the platforms more in Toronto because of Drake, because everybody's following Drake. So if Drake comes on Down to Earth podcast, this will happen. You guys, I want you guys to talk. Say something in the comments. If Drake was to come on Down to Earth podcast, just say, you know what would happen the day after? You know what would happen to the views of the platform? It would blow the hell up. If Drake was to come to Down to Earth, the people who I never heard before or seen before, just online, all of a sudden would DM us and say, "Oh, I gotta get on the Down to Earth podcast, man. I saw Drake on there a day ago. Holy, I gotta get on that shit." No, no, no. He's not gonna sue me because it would be me interviewing him. I don't know what you would say, but it would be me. Fuck. If Drake comes on, it's me the fuck interviewing that motherfucker, that guy. I'm not gonna call it MF. Sorry, right? Everybody, Tom, Dick, and Harry will come on. Now, why would he sue? Stop talking that fuckery business. Sue for what? I know he's suing UMG, but that's a whole game, man. That's when yeah, that's when the price goes up. That's all of a sudden what happened, man. I know Toronto, the bandwagon is. Drake comes on here, every single rapper, the ones who are the biggest heads, would want to jump on the friggin' platform. That's what would happen. That's what would happen. They all would want to jump on the platform. And it doesn't even have to be Drake. Anybody else they see relevant jumps on. It's gonna happen. But I'm telling you this 100%. I don't know about other people, but 100%. Mark my words. It's going to happen. Be it Drake, be it whoever, be it The Weeknd, be it Party Next Door, because I ain't going nowhere. D2E ain't going nowhere. And tell them D2E ain't going nowhere. So if it's not Drake, it might be Party Next Door. If it's not Party Next Door, it might be Weekend. If it's not Weekend, it might be Tory Lanez. And that's how it works. If I get Tory, if we were to get Tory, then the others will jump on all of a sudden, right? If the other guy who I just wasn't talking, who Drake doesn't go is avoiding, right? If he was to get Weekend, all of a sudden Drake wants to go on. You get what I mean? If I'm not the other platform was to get Weekend, Drake wants to go on. If Tory Lanez goes on that, Drake wants to go on. So what's gonna happen is this, right? When Tory comes out, if he does go on a Canadian platform, because he will get deported. I don't think maybe he might not even come out like free like we think. I mean, after years, he will be deported in Canada and can't go back to America. So at that time, who will he go to? Who will he speak to? He could go to the corporates or whatever, but they weren't covering him all the time. They were talking about him bad. So when Mr. Aubrey sees that or somebody like that go on one of one of the platforms in Toronto, we will see a difference. But right now, Drake, Tory Lanez, The Weeknd, Party Next Door, whoever, all these big cats in America, you lose. Well, I'm gonna say it. So our respect, I don't give a fuck. You don't have to give a shit, but you're gonna lose. You lose my respect because it's not just me. I'm not saying you have to come on our platform. You don't go on anyone's platform. Well, yeah, you don't go on anyone's platform from Canada. So you lose that respect. There's Americans wondering why. I had Glasses Malone from the West Coast hip hop saying the same shit. They're saying the same stuff right now. So far, I haven't seen. Has Kendrick been on a? Yeah, Kendrick's been on a couple platforms, not too much, but he's been on it. Kendrick's been on it. There's not too much big names I know of in the West Coast besides, fuck, damn, man, because they push No Jumper so much. I'm trying to think. Oh no, but like I'm saying, man, I already gave you guys the inside of this whole industry beef stuff. Yep, I like Kendrick. I have to respect Drake for putting us on the map, but this whole thing was made up. This whole beef shit was made up by the industry because they're losing sales in hip hop. We're losing sales in hip hop, right? For the last 2 years to Afro beats. So that's why this whole beef came about, right? I've been going for a while now. So from the beginning, you're gonna, if you watch this over, you'll see what I was talking about. Talked about a couple little stuff spread out, but majority of it was talking about the industry behind this whole cooked up beef and the enemies of Drake and what Drake and others need to do to get through. If I saying like I said, Drake is a billionaire or almost a billionaire. He shows love to the city, but he doesn't show love to the content makers. He doesn't he doesn't fuck with nobody publicly. Maybe a phone call, maybe a DM, maybe a comment on your profile, but that's it. Nothing else. You get what I mean? And the weekend, you even work. I'm sorry, man. I like your music, but you worse than Drake. You worse than Drake because at least Drake is in the city. I like your music, weekend, but you worse than Drake because you come and you go, and I understand you're trying to be low key, but man, you do give back to the city too. Got to give him that. But you worse when it comes to the content. I know you don't like the mix up shit, but let's see who wins the race first. Will it be the weekend? Will it be Tory Lanez? Or will it be Drake who goes on camera, a Canadian hip hop or urban platform? And I'm not talking about Entertainment Tonight. I'm not talking about City TV or if there's a Much Music that exists. I'm talking about a grassroots platform like us, right? So, bless up to everybody. Thanks for joining. Watch the pod. I'm out. Subscribe.